I'd like to touch upon one of the unique problems that we face in society today, and that is the monopoly of representative government on our form of democracy. By and large, we don't really have democracy. We have representative government. In fact, the entire world is representative governments, the democracies of the world. The only exception is Switzerland. Switzerland does have real direct democracy and representative government, a partnership of the people as legislators with their legislators in government. And of course, the results in Switzerland have been unbelievably successful. This all started in 1848 at the end of a 3-year civil war. Now, Switzerland has no resources. Switzerland has 4 languages, 4 cultures, 4 religions. You can't think of a more difficult place to try to initiate a form of democracy. But they did. They brought the people into the operation of government as legislators, and as a result have been at peace since 1848 and are probably, on a per capita basis, one of the wealthiest nations in the world. That's proof of what can happen if you can bring the people, and that's what the National Initiative is all about, bringing the people into the operation of government as legislators. The National Initiative is a legislative package made up of a constitutional amendment where the people assert their right to legislate, sets up an electoral trust, and then it also has another part to it, which is a federal statute, and that is to put in place all of the procedures with which to make laws by. And I've copied the procedures that exist in the Congress, have tweaked them so that you can turn around and have lawmaking by citizens in every government jurisdiction of the United States. We have devised a methodology where we ask the American people directly, do you want to be empowered? Now, polls show us overwhelmingly, the 70–80 percentile, people want to be empowered. They're fed up with representative government and the monopoly that it has. And so the standard that we've set, based upon the precedent of Article 7 of the Constitution, where it says that when the conventions of 9 states vote to ratify this Constitution, it becomes the law of those 9 states. Well, what we're now saying is that when the majority of the people who voted in the last presidential election vote in the affirmative for the National Initiative, it then becomes the law of the land. That's the majority of the American people speaking. So now it's up to the American people to begin to focus on it by going to the website nationalinitiative.us, www.nationalinitiative.us, and of course my political site, which has the National Initiative also, is www.gravel2008.us. Both sites have the text of the National Initiative, which is less than 5,600 words. It's an easy read, and it has 2 parts, the Democracy Amendment and the Democracy Act. Next to the National Initiative, the most important undertaking that I have in my platform is the fair tax. And that will be able to, with that, we'll be able to finance the first priority, making education, second, universal single-payer health care. But where we'll get the money with the fair tax is that presently our income tax is the most unfair system of taxation human beings could ever devise. 70% of Americans pay more for Social Security and their health care taxes than they do for the income tax. And that is the most regressive part of the income tax structure. So if we do away with all the income taxes in the IRS, then in order to get the same amount of revenue to operate the government, we would have to put on, if that's embedded taxes of 25%, we would have to put on a 25% sales tax. Now that may seem like a lot, but stop and think. We've just taken away 25% of the taxes you're paying by income taxes, and we're now putting on a sales tax of 25%. So it's revenue neutral. You're not being taxed any more than you were before. But there's an additional device that we can do. We cannot have a deduction for food and clothing and the necessities of life, because the minute you put in place one deduction, you now Katie bar the door. You'll have a whole bunch of deductions for all the special interest, and it won't work. So in order to make it pure and simple, that is, you have a sales tax, and then you will have a prebate. And so that is the fair tax, and that's why it's so important to my presidential candidacy to get Americans to vote for it. The Congress will never enact it. It will take the people, and that's why you'll need the national initiative to bring about the fair tax.